Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and this is another episode of Asset Flippers, the series where we showcase Shitehawk asset flippers in all their beauteous glory. Today we have a quote-unquote developer who goes by Berdyev and lists himself as lead developer for BCInteractive. BCInteractive has been very naughty indeed, and this is going to be a good deal of information, so please bear with me as we will take it one game at a time. This guy has apparently been getting away with some exceptionally shady practices for far longer than he should have. First, we have the most recent game, Dead Inside, which you are seeing on your screen now. It is a wholly uninspired and fairly buggy zombie survival game. I played about 10 minutes of this game and was, of course, completely unimpressed. It was clearly a bare-bones piece of work, and even though this game is listed as being in early access, I highly doubt there will be any improvements on the game at all, as it has yet to receive a single update yet since it went live. And of course, why would it? It's an asset flip for Ultimate Survival, a $50 Unity asset template by Winterbyte, and this despicable piece of flotsam Berdyev has the brass cojones to charge $15 for this giant bag of offal from a diuretic camel. Now, to his credit, in this instance, he has maintained the highest levels of professionalism when forced to face the fact that he is not, in fact, a games developer, merely a scam artist attempting to dupe as many honest gamers out of their hard-earned money as humanly possible. Now, I found it hard to find any fault or even to criticize such a talented mimeograph machine as Berdyev when he stated with such debonair wit and aplomb things like, "Suck this nuts," and "Wanker, I'll keep deleting it," and accusing those who openly criticize his titanic efforts as kids, or calling people like fellow critic Mellow Online trash for calling him out on his actions. Indeed, Berdyev has done anything and everything he can to mock and belittle anyone who would point out his disgusting behavior. He also opted to engage in the time-honored tradition of deleting comments, entire threads, and banning Steam users in order to silence criticism and hope in vain that his efforts would allow him to continue on business as usual. Next up, we have Space Journey, an open-world exploration game that is a direct and unaltered asset flip of the Unity Store project Alien Sky by Cryosign. Now, this one I actually recall seeing once upon a time. I went back through my notes of potential asset flippers and saw that this game was, in fact, on it. What had raised my eyebrows then was that the quote-unquote developer BCInteractive, who is the Steam User Berdyev, had gotten into a fight with the actual creator of the game on Cryosign's YouTube video showcasing his Unity Store project. Now, bear with me, as I think this string of comments speaks more to the disgusting personality of Berdyev than anything else I could mention. Berdyev starts off, "And when is the next update coming?" And Cryosign asks, "Is that your creation?" with a link to Berdyev's posting Space Journey. Yeah. It's called a fraud and is considered a serious crime in US. I like when people are making some cool stuff with my assets, but you've just published a build with 0 changes. You should stop misleading customers with false promises. Berdyev responds with, "How is that a fraud? You're selling your asset and give a permission to do anything with it. It's not like I downloaded your free package, which has a copyright, and started selling it on Steam. Have you read Unity's terms of service and how does a copyright works? Otherwise, stop selling your asset or put in a description what you can or cannot do. Plus, I am indeed making changes to it. I am using it as a placeholder, but definitely working on its updates. Don't give me crap about fraud and having 0 changes on its package." Sure, you can use Asset Pack, but you're misleading your customers on Steam. You're trying to blackmail me via emails and have no experience in programming, and now you're asking when the next update for placeholder is coming. Berdyev responds with, "I've never blackmailed you, lol. You're just shitty at replying to questions. As a developer on Asset Store, your job is to provide a support, which you suck at. And how am I misleading my customers on Steam, lol? I don't have to tell them that it's a package from Unity Asset Store. I bought it and I have full rights using it. Do you even read Unity's terms of service? Distribution agreement? Seems like not. Once again, don't give me shit about fraud or misleading if you don't even know how law and rules work here. And trust me, I do have experience in programming. It's just as a consumer of your product, I was expecting a good support, which once again you suck at. You can either stop giving me shit and provide support just like you have to, or keep going with your fraud bullshit. Cryosign responds with, really? As I mentioned previously, I've got the history of all your emails, and according to it, the only one who sucks is you, especially in programming. Consider this conversation finished. To which Berdyev responds with, GG. Now, Berdyev's most oft-used defense of his asset flipping is that he is using the assets as a placeholder, but he is working on updates, even though there have been at least more than one instance where that was not the case. And I know that Mr. Berdyev will say, but you can look at Space Journey itself and see there were updates. Gotcha. Except, Mr. Berdyev, those updates coincide a little too closely with the posted updates for Alien Sky, which makes you even worse. On top of being a complete fuckwit towards the real developers of the shit you're peddling on Steam, it would seem that you even go so far as to pass off their updates as your own in order to seem like you were doing some form of development. And what's worse, Berdyev is charging $10 for Space Journey even though he didn't make it. And what's even worse, and this shows how horrendously bad these asset flippers can be, when we go to Steamspy for Space Journey by BCInteractive, we see that this $10 title that he didn't even make has sold 47,886 copies of the game with a variance of 6,120, which puts us at the following figures, and just for the benefit of the doubt, let's go on the low end of these figures. And we have 47,886, and we subtract the total variance, or possible variance, of 6,120 for a low-end total of 41,766 copies sold. Now, we have some variance in prices due to sales and the like, so let's take the low end of the sale price, and we'll just say $8, even though the actual number is going to be significantly higher than that, which leaves us with $334,128. Now, of course, Steam takes a 30% cut of that, so we subtract the 30% and we're left with $233,889.60. Oh, and of course, let's not forget the $100 fee for posting the game on Steam's Greenlight, and of course the $40 for the cost of the package from the actual developer, and you're left with our magic number here of $233,749.60. And of course, that does not even begin to factor trading cards, and this is at the minimum low number. So all in all, not bad of a little payday for what equated to $140 and absolutely zero discernible effort. But don't get up and walk away just yet, ladies and gentlemen, because we're just getting warmed up. And we also have Adventures of Hui, an exceptionally basic first-person adventure game that is a direct asset flip of first-person RPG template, a $10 Unity asset by Peregrine Maxim. Again, Berdyev has done the same thing here of turning a tidy profit off of the back of someone else's work with seemingly no appreciable effort on his own part. And if we do the same mathematics and go with the low end of everything, we end up with a profit off of the back of the first-person RPG template of approximately $41,851.40. And in addition to that, we have Escape the Island, which also introduces us to an apparent pseudonym of Berdyev, Elusive Team. Now, it's worth noting that Berdyev has stated previously that he is not affiliated with Elusive Team. They apparently, according to him, worked on one game together, but they've since parted ways. Even though I purchased Escape the Island, which is an Elusive Team game as part of the BCInteractive franchise bundle. And I'm sorry, but if you're selling the game, that means you are a little bit more than affiliated at that point. So taking that into account, we must treat all of Elusive Team's games as BCInteractive because we really have to at this point. So here we go, in a bit more rapid fashion, as I'm sure you all have pitchforks to sharpen and torches to light, as I would expect you to after seeing the sheer volume of income this particularly semi-asset flipper has earned by passing off other people's work as his own. Escape the Island is yet another survival game that is in fact the Unity asset Depths of the Ocean, a $29 Unity asset by Wonder Games, and this particular little asset flip has netted a rough minimum income of $275,062. Also from Elusive Team, we have Russian Underground, a VR experience that I was not able to obtain original footage for as I do not own a VR system as yet, so don't worry, it's on my to-do list. So special thanks to 9 Warbane, as I am most definitely making use of his footage for this segment. There is a link to his channel in the description. Please do go give him a like, share, and sub. Tell him SidAlpha sent you, and thanks for the footage. Now, I have no direct correlation to this particular game being an asset flip, although it would not at all surprise me if it were, and some Reddit posters had stated as much, but unfortunately for me, there was no link provided, and I was unable to locate the asset myself. Now, reportedly, this particular game, while providing less than 5 minutes worth of content, charged the disgusting sum of $6, and if our Steamspy numbers are to be believed, then this disgusting little cash grab has made at minimum over $175,000. Next up, we have Billiard VR. This nifty little VR title netted Berdyev an approximate minimum $181,000 and is an unaltered asset flip of VR Pool Sport Starter Pack by Sergei Shushinov. And when one Redditor posted on Steam calling out our intrepid developer Elusive Team for being disgusting asset flippers, the dev banned him, citing as the ban reason, "Stop fucking trash talking, you kids. If you don't like it, just leave or kill yourself." Now, how could you possibly attack such a warm and caring individual as that? Such a travesty. Now, we also have Strong Mind by Elusive Team, which netted it at minimum an approximate $61,000, and as added DLC, you can purchase a song by the group Enigma, and given the dev's strong penchant for asset flips, I would need to see the license documentation before I was willing to believe that they had invested the type of funds necessary to purchase licensing rights for such a song when they can't even be bothered to produce original work. Oh, also the game Strong Minds consists of 4 multiple-choice questions, and you aren't even informed whether you got the correct answers or no. This might be the only original title they've done, and even if it is a blatant ripoff and cash grab, I don't think it's an asset flip. But let's get back to the BCInteractive games, as we've covered the other titles by Elusive Team, even though it's basically the same team. Next up on our list is Off-Road VR, an asset flip of the Unity Store asset Off-Road Pickup Plus Animated Hands, a $2 Unity asset by Torvald MGT. Now, this one showed some actual effort, and by effort, I mean they added a VR camera and called it good enough. Now, if numbers are to be believed, then this particular ripoff netted Berdyev a cool $57,000. Pretty good for just adding a camera. Now, I'm starting to think that I could get rich pretty damn easily if I had no morals or ethics of any kind and turned myself from a human being into a walking pile of shit. Definitely be making a lot more money. But continuing on with the never-ending list of shit, we have Staircase of Darkness VR, which is in reality the Unity Asset Store Package Horror Game Maker 01 by Vis Games, with a VR camera added to it. So my guess is even the VR camera is either purchased or stolen from the Unity Asset Store as well. Now, in addition to that, we have Flight Simulator VR, which of course is still another Unity Asset Store flip from Unity FS, Flight Simulator Engine by Remix Software Limited. This $75 asset is compatible with all platforms, including iOS and Android. Oh, and if the numbers are to be believed, then this particular asset flip has netted Berdyev a cool $18,000 so far. But then we have some games that there isn't any Steamspy information for that I was able to find. We also have Space Odyssey, which is an asset flip of Space Journey, a $60 Unity asset by Befio. In this particular game, Berdyev was so damn lazy, he didn't even bother creating a new trailer for the game. He just plastered his own logo on the damn thing and called it well enough. Now, this game is not out for sale yet, but it is on Steam storefront and listed as coming soon. Now, I know that this is a lot of information to digest in such a short period of time. I could scarcely believe it myself just how pervasive this scum had become and how much he was earning off of the back of other people's games. In addition to that, there have been screenshots galore on Reddit threads showing potential fake reviews, vote botting, and everything else under the sun, even providing keys only to later revoke them when Berdyev decided he didn't like what the recipients like Mellow Online had to say. Berdyev has engaged in every shady practice that we have seen from these piles of garbage that just don't want to wither away and die. This person makes Digital Homicide, Doki and Dallas of Fur Fun, and Dentola Studios look like rank amateurs when it comes to swindling people and scamming money, all the while using prepackaged assets in order to not only earn income off the games, but to earn income off the trading cards as well. This is a monumental and masterful bit of scum fuckery that exhibits a prime example of how poisonous and toxic these asset flippers can become. And once again, We face an asset flipper who defends themselves and their postings vehemently, acting like the worst scum imaginable, telling consumers to kill themselves, calling them kids, and banning people for even breathing a hint of the truth. It still boggles my mind how these people can defend their reposting unaltered assets, calling them their own games, and then get offended and even hurt when someone calls them out on it. And they always have the exact same defense, and it's one that I've seen Berdyev use himself. What I'm doing isn't illegal. And you know what? They're right. Technically, it's not illegal. As long as they have indeed purchased the rights to these Unity assets, they did also purchase the right to do with those assets what they will. It is a pathetic and disgusting misinterpretation of the intended copyright agreement, but unfortunately a valid one. However, when you have to rely on a legal technicality to validate your actions, then you've already strayed into territory where there is no moral or ethical justification. When all you have to rely on is that, then you're not doing something right. When you're doing that, all you're doing is looking out for your own pocketbook. You have no thought for your own product. It is nothing to you but a means to an end. All it is recurring zero-effort income at the expense of somebody else. And when you become an asset flipper, you cease deserving respect or even basic human decency. At that point, all you become is a leech, sucking away at the lifeblood of this industry, leaving nothing but fecal matter in your wake. Now this is why Valve needs to step in and defend their consumers more than they have. According to recent videos by Total Biscuit and Jim Sterling, who recently had a meeting with Valve to discuss upcoming changes, they both showed that Valve is extremely hesitant to take steps to stomp on developers who behave in such a fashion, even when reminded that this sort of behavior reflects on Valve directly. These are verbal attacks on consumers by the developer who is attempting to silence criticism in order to further continue making money by posting blatant asset flips and taking advantage of the Steam trading card system. These are the mimeograph artists that make it more difficult for real games developers to get noticed. These are the ones that already have found loopholes in the system that Valve is planning on implementing to boost their trading cards by making use of fake Steam accounts. And they apparently have made a great deal of money doing so. I would urge you all to help put a stop to this asset flipping juggernaut. Shout this out to every games YouTuber you know. Shout it out to every YouTube news channel you know. Raise the visibility on this to ridiculous levels. Ask them to post their own take on what Berdyev is doing. Help report his attacks on consumers, because while they might not be directed at you personally, an attack against even one Steam user is an attack against us all. And this person has proven that he doesn't deserve the privilege of our money. He doesn't deserve our patronage. He doesn't deserve to grow fat and wealthy by merely reposting someone else's work. Like this video, share it on every place on the internet you come across. Blow up other YouTubers asking them for their take on this. Post it on Reddit, Vote, Twitter, Facebook, hell, even the bulletin board at work. Email Valve demanding an investigation. This man thinks you are children and thinks that any dissenters should just kill themselves. Show him what that lack of respect deserves. Show him that together you have a voice and you can affect change. I've seen it happen. I know how powerful you all can become when you band together. And when we fight against people like these, we need to band together. Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. Let's get to work.